Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. Leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing helps out the channel immensely. One, thank you very much to everyone out there who leaves a comment every single day to help out the algorithmus. And B, yeah, I got my internet to work properly again. I'm not sure, it's been exactly a week now. I'm not sure what happened or what was going on or why I couldn't properly get online sometimes, but I'm back. Yeah, and not that it matters to you because you're not here, so you're not affected by the internet. We're just letting you know that I got my internet back. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Get ready for, you know what's coming. You know exactly where this is all going. Get ready for another, I guess, maybe intense news video because despite stuff, the world in crypto continues to collapse. It says Bitcoin price trends below $17,000. What's ahead for the king or the crypto king? No one knows. No one has any idea. No one on this planet has any idea what's about to, because you wait till you see the news, because I was also quite shooketh when I saw the amount of nonsense that's been taking place over the course of the last 24 hours. Yeah, prices are down, but not really down. I still think it's very weird. You'll see as we go through the news that everyone's reacting to this in such a heavily dramatic way. If you've just gotten into crypto or only been into crypto for a couple of months and dare I even say a year, we have these events all the time. It's a very new industry. There's no real regulations around it. If, people keep screaming they want or do not want regulations. If you don't want regulations, these events will keep on happening. That's just you can't trust everyone, and usually you can't trust billionaires who are dealing with the money of tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people. At some point, someone's going to slip up. We've seen this throughout history. Crypto has been around for 14 years. We've seen, even if you look back at the last 2,000 years of history, this is usually how empires collapse. There's mayors and governors and all these other people who control or inside of a city or a country, and at some point, someone messes up and the entire thing ends up collapsing. It happens over and over. This is what we've seen before. But for some reason, to everyone, this is the craziest, scariest, most horriblest thing that we've ever experienced in our entire lives in crypto. And I'd say it's maybe top 20. And it's not even in the top 10 of those top 20. Anyway, so at the moment, prices are lightly in red. It's nothing too crazy, even though there was more crazy news. Not to be left out of it because these keep happening over and over and over. Despite prices dropping or falling or people looking up and saying, oh my gosh, the sky, look at it, it's also falling in on us. A lot of people are announcing that they still expect Bitcoin to skyrocket or begin pumping relatively soon. The time frame is generally anywhere from the beginning of next year to spring to summer of next year. It says crypto hedge fund veteran Mark Yusko, I don't know how to say that, doubles down on $100,000 Bitcoin prediction. Here's his timeline. It's basically before the halving. He thinks that the halving, which is taking place now, if you look at the chain, and how many transactions it's doing and yada yada, and how many blocks are being produced. It's estimated between January or February of 2024, which is a little bit earlier than we normally see, which is around March, I believe. And he thinks that the precursor to that will be prices, of course, rising, and then us seeing Bitcoin go to around 100,000, remaining roughly around there until the full impact of the halving is felt, and that's when he thinks we are going to hit a $250,000 Bitcoin, mimicking very similar to what's the other guy? Was it Novogratz? I don't remember. This guy was 2 days ago who was talking about prices as well, and this is the weird one. I think it's Novogratz. It's one of the billionaire always sitting in a chair, but their houses don't look that nice even though they're super rich guys. And he was talking about that by next summer, Now that's the craziest one. What is that? 8.5 months away. He thinks that Bitcoin is going to $250,000. I mean, bless his heart, because I would love if that happened. But if everyone keeps continuing like the entire crypto industry is collapsing because one crypto exchange fell apart, then we're not really going anywhere. So, starting off the insanity news, like I told you, you all knew where this was going. The former CEO of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, I don't know if you caught that as well. Apparently, they collectively kicked Sam Bankman-Fried out of FTX. He is no longer the CEO. He's just a person now who still has tons of money. Oh, those articles are still floating around, and not that I even ever want to be in that position, but I find it really funny that every single article that ever spoke about Sam Bankman-Fried, it always said, billionaire, Sam Bankman-Fried. And then we had news that apparently his net worth had fallen from, what was it, 7 billion, I think, to 984 million. And it's like, oh no, that's so terrible. I would hate to only have $984 million. I guess I'll just go lay in my pile of money and my friends. It just doesn't. Anyway, has expressed deep regrets. This is Sam Bankman-Fried over filing for chapter. No, okay. I'm going to read and then I'm going to go over it because there's so much happening at the exact same time. Sam Bankman-Fried has basically announced that he regrets filing for bankruptcy. He filed for Chapter 11 last week, and he says it's his biggest single fudge up that he's ever done. In a wide-ranging interview with Vox, which was published on the 16th of November, Bankman-Fried reportedly answered questions on a number of topics such as the November 11th Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, his thoughts on regulators, ethics, how FTX and Alameda gambled with customer money, and the FTX hack. For those of you who missed that as well, FTX was also hacked. I think people thought it was an inside job, but apparently that money's like gone. I assume it was some disgruntled person who had their money on the exchange who, was trying to get back, or, people always do weird stuff. According to the screenshots of the Twitter conversation between Vox reporter Kelsey Piper and Sam Bankman-Fried, the former FTX CEO said that although he has made multiple mistakes, the biggest one was listening to everyone else and filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So allegedly, according to him, the company actually had money. However, he filed for bankruptcy because everyone else told him to do so in an effort to, I'm not really sure why this would have actually been done. Remember last week when we got news that something might be wrong with FTX and people weren't able to take their money out. And then I looked through the news and I was like, no, everyone's still able to take their money out. There were no reports of any type of like problems with the actual website, except for that the company itself might be insolvent, that they were actually in a huge amount of debt. And then it took about 3 or 4 days before they actually paused withdrawals, which most crypto exchanges do. You're going to see once again, there's other news about that as well. But it feels, anyway, the way that it is being shown to us now is that apparently there was enough money to actually make sure that everyone could take their money out of it. But when you file for bankruptcy and you do all the procedures that allegedly he did, it starts locking up money, and therefore then no one has access to the money. So he believes that if everything had been a bit more calm and hush-hush, it could have been resolved. Remember when I told you as well, the first tweets that we got were from now godlike figure floating from the heavens, Changpeng Zhao, basically telling everyone to panic. We've seen insolvency in crypto before. We've seen collapses. Like a normal collapse, listen here, the normal collapse of a cryptocurrency exchange is usually, really obvious and dramatic. It's always the same. There's always a tweet that says, hey guys, we're going to be running some maintenance. It's just going to be an hour. That hour turns into 24 hours. That 24 hours turns into 3 days. People begin to get worried. And then we get proper news that there's no, they have no money. The CEO disappears. It takes months to find them. It's like a whole, what's this guy's name? The guy who made Terra Luna kind of event. But that's why I found it really weird that Sam Bankman was still like, okay, cool. No, it's fine. Like he was kind of all there. And also, please sit down, because I know there's one person who is rambling right now and who's going off in their home or on the train inside of their mind somewhere. I'm not supporting or backing this guy. But doesn't this all seem a little weird to you? That this all basically unfolded because Changpeng Zhao announced Sam Bankman-Fried's political affiliations, and then everything around him and everything around it also collapsed as well. If I had just gotten into crypto, I'd be like, well, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. We've seen collapses before. We've seen all of these things taking place. This isn't brand new. But the fact that everyone, there's also, wait till you see the other articles. The people are acting like this is the actual end of crypto. Like there's no more crypto ever going to take place. Like how do we ever, like what, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. What's the other thing that he was saying? I don't know. I was somewhere also around there. Crap. So yes. The other news is, I think it's also, so these two basically tie together. He announced that he regrets filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. He was like, if I hadn't done that, he believes that around 70% of people would have already had their money back. Like people who were owed money, everyone would nearly have their money, and he would only need to raise only a few $1 billion to make everything completely all right. Here's part 2 of it, and everyone's also completely losing their minds over this as well. I mean, do I think it should happen? Probably not, but, people in crypto don't normally listen ever. Sam Bankman-Fried, who co-founded FTX, which he recently declared insolvent, has taken to Twitter to tell the community that he would like to start his business all over again. Right. So I don't even really feel like reading through all of it. I'm just going to give you the main gist of what he's talking about. He was stating that over the course of any day, they were handling roughly around $10 billion in volume and transactions. Every crypto exchange gets a portion of what they, as the cryptocurrency exchange volume, is actually going through it. So this is why we keep hearing at the end of the year how many billions Coinbase made, because every dollar, I assume they get 1 cent or half of a cent. I don't know what the transaction fees are, but there's always a transaction fee. He was basically saying, if things had continued and this entire thing hadn't imploded because of everyone freaking out so quickly, the money that still would have been flowing through the exchange from their portion of the actual fees would have already been able to pay off everything that they actually owed. That's why I once again found it so weird, and still find it so weird, that so many people are making this so much larger than it actually is. The news for the last 9 days has been this. I'm sure you've seen this. Is, if you've been here, thank you very much for the support. But if you've been here for a couple of years, we've never seen anything like this. And I don't mean in like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. It's more like why is everyone so obsessed with this one event? Like, what is it? Is it the fact that Sam, tell me completely honestly, because I feel like this is my opinion, but I'm also from there. I feel like this is more of an American thing. I think a lot of people in crypto found out that Sam Bankman-Fried isn't in the same political camp as them, and everyone's kicking up as much dirt as possible. But you're also destroying the cryptocurrency market. You're causing yourself to lose money. You're causing anyone else who might be thinking of trying to get into the market, they're also losing confidence. Tons of people, I've seen so many friends in the last, every single time that the cryptocurrency market goes down, we all have those friends who are like, those guys who are like, how's the market doing? I see it's not doing too well. But over the last couple of months, with the stock market like rapidly declining and people seeing that there is a correlation between crypto and the stock market, I've had a lot of friends being like, so should I put some money into crypto because I see that there's a correlation and crypto gets higher returns? And I've seen friends over the last couple of days, and everyone is like, yo, that's terrible. Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I've actually been looking at a bunch of other stocks, and like everyone who would be getting into the market is pivoting away. It's this really weird, you voted or you supported someone else and I can never ever help you again kind of thing. You wouldn't believe what people are saying on Twitter. Like, I get it. He lost people money. He did a terrible thing. No one should be over leveraging in general. That's the point of my videos on this channel, and also the other video that I just made on money rules, which also people had a really hard time digesting because they just assumed I was saying the complete opposite of the words that were coming out of my mouth. Why is everyone so freaked out about this one thing? We've seen insolvency and collapses before. The market gets afraid for 3 or 4 days and everyone completely moves on. You don't understand. When I wake up in the morning, I scour through around 25, 30 different websites for news that's happening in the cryptocurrency space. This is the only news. This is all there is. Every single article has Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX in it. There's nothing else. And I'm showing you the articles that aren't insane, that are telling people, should you start selling your money? Should you get out of cryptocurrencies? Prices are only going to go down. And I'm like, where are you all getting this from? This is very similar to what we heard years and years ago. I don't remember this guy's name, the weird guy with the cryptocurrency YouTube channel, who was telling everyone when Bitcoin was like 11 or 12,000 that Bitcoin had to go to 1,000. And I don't know why you all follow that man. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, dude, Bitcoin's going down to 1,000. And that spread and people started selling off their coins. I think we went down by like $800 that day because everyone was anticipating that this man said we had to go to 1,000, which made no sense. Why would Bitcoin's price have to drop because a crypto YouTuber said that the price was going to drop? Like, wait, tell me the actual logic. What event happened? Why did Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency industry prices fell between like 40 to 60% over the course of the last 8-9 days, like now, like from us now, in the present? Why was Bitcoin at near 22,000 and then dropped to 15,000? What does that have to do with the insolvency or the bankruptcy of one man and his company? Sam Bankman-Fried was not sitting on a toilet making Bitcoin. FTX held Bitcoin. They were not the creators of Bitcoin. They didn't create XRP. They didn't create Ethereum. Why would exchanges have to collapse because of an event like this? It feels so coordinated. It feels like someone behind the scenes was making sure that all this happened just so that richer people could buy. How much whale news have we gotten in the last I'm going to stop ranting in a sec, but how much whale news have we gotten in the last 5 or 6 days? Whales are buying. And it's not like, oh, there's an extra Bitcoin. Let me know. Like, they're buying up all the Bitcoin and all the Ether and all the coins that have been sold off in the last couple of days. Bringing it on back. So Sam Bankman-Fried, I don't think this is going to work, but we are in a really weird market and it might actually take place. He's talking about wanting to restart the company or restart something or try and raise funds in some sort of way. And he thinks that he can make enough money back, which he probably could. If this hadn't been blown out of proportion and we heard that there might be something wrong, people would have taken some of their money out of the exchange. Whatever. So he says he wants to raise liquidity, make customers whole, and restart. I think this would have been non-news, like absolute non-news, if all of this hadn't gone completely insane and people hadn't found out that he donated money to them, like to the Democrats. Like, I really don't think that this would have been that crazy. I don't know how you can be so open to destroying the market that you're in because you don't like someone else inside of it. I don't get it. So also on top of that as well, which people completely, this was one of the most popular news stories of the day. Kevin O'Leary basically announced that he still believes in Sam Bankman-Fried and that he thinks that he would still invest with him despite losing money on FTX. O'Leary recently outlined the extent of his exposure to the exchange while arguing that there's a silver lining in the company's collapse. In an interview on Tuesday, I'm not saying that name, O'Leary admitted that FTX was one of his bad investments but remained safe due to his diversification of assets. He said, nevertheless, the investor took a huge hit. He said he was a shareholder of FTX and FTX US and held multiple accounts with the exchange that are now frozen. People are surprised that he would say something like this. Kevin O'Leary is in the same exact box as Elon Musk for me. I don't get why people find him so fascinating or amazing. I assume it's because he has $1 billion. That usually seems to be the thing that gets a lot of people going. If you have $1 billion, you could be the worst person on the planet. I'll still follow you. That seems to be the mantra of a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space. This guy's been wrong multiple times. He also called the cryptocurrency space a farce years ago and was calling it terrible and how he hated it. He's the one who screamed at the top of his lungs that we needed regulation when he found out that he lost money. So basically, he announced that he would still support him. I assume this is because all these people know each other. I don't know if you know, and this isn't to be said in a mean way. If you've ever been at like a really big money event or paid attention to how like money works, all these people hang out together. They're not like strangers. Like rich people have very close ties with other rich people because they don't trust anyone else. You have to understand, when you have an immense amount of money, you don't trust who is or who isn't your friend, or who is or is next to you or is not next to you because they want your money or maybe want something else for you. They roll in very tight circles. This is why you always see these events. Always the same billionaires are there. Like they all know each other. You hang out with people who are monetarily similar to you. Not that you should be doing that because it's kind of a really weird thing to do in life, but that's kind of the general idea. This is why we keep hearing all the time that, remember last year and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that, like we always keep hearing like Ashton Kutcher is investing millions of dollars into this, and this woman actress is also like they all are investing in the same crypto things because they know each other and they all talk to each other. So I assume that Kevin O'Leary actually knows Sam Bankman-Fried, and they've probably hung out multiple times. Because we don't see them hanging out all the time doesn't mean that they haven't hung out. I would find it very weird if he would still be like, oh yeah, you know, like we're still cool and I would still invest with him, because Sam Bankman probably made him a huge amount of money. The losses that he incurred are probably very low compared to how much money that he actually made. And this is probably why he said this. But everyone's like, Kevin. So first of all, I never trust these people in general, but now people are like, Kevin O'Leary bad. And it's like, now you're getting it? Like what? Why does it always take like one really weird event for people to be like, oh my gosh, he's a horrendous person? Just logic in general. Like, look at what they've done before. Anyone who has ever shunned the cryptocurrency market, I don't care how far crypto now is in their life. I don't talk about them on this channel because these people are completely irrelevant. You can't hate us, make money, and then go, oh, crypto amazing now. No, like, fudge you. That's a nice way of saying it. But people are also losing their minds. Who cares? If he wants to continue investing with Sam Bankman-Fried and potentially lose his money again in the future, let him. This doesn't affect your life. You will never know Kevin O'Leary. Do you know that? You will never meet him in your lifetime. Because you've seen him on a couple of episodes of Fish Tank or Fish People, whatever the show is called, you will never meet him. He is not your friend. What he does with his money will not affect you in any way. Think about that. Every celebrity, every rich person who's in this market, if they go to buy a house or if they decide to put their money into Bitcoin Gold or Bitcoin Diamond, it doesn't affect you in any way. Why was this the most popular news story? I assume it has to do with Sam Bankman-Fried like sludge. He toxic. Kevin O'Leary want to touch him. That's evil. That's all I can kind of really come up with in my mind as to why people were completely losing their minds over this one. Sure, why not? Go for it. Go, Kevin O'Leary, go. I don't care. This was popular news. People need to, I'm telling you, fresh air. Is there a window near you that you could open up and just breathe in some good old outside air? Because I think it would help a lot of people in crypto, because the nonsense is spectacular. Also in the news, oh my gosh, everyone panic. Throw your hands up into the air and like actually panic, because this has to be also terrible, right? Gemini, the most boring cryptocurrency exchange run by the Winklevoss twins, has suffered a rush of withdrawals as crypto firms wrestle with the reverberations, SAT word, of the FTX Alameda bankruptcy. Oh gosh, it's so scary. And subsequent contagion within the digital asset industry. It's also scary to me. I can't take anymore. Data by blockchain intelligence platform Nansen shows that Gemini had around $500 million of people taking out money from their exchange, the largest among crypto exchanges. Outflows totaled around $563 million, and were offset by only around $78 million worth of inflows. I guess those $78 million didn't hear how scary this is supposed to be. And they talk about money going in and money going out, and there's a little chart right there and how much money is so and so, blah, 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 blah. The rush of withdrawals came as Gemini paused withdrawals earlier on Wednesday from its yield generating earn program. That was difficult to say. The lending unit of crypto investment bank Genesis Global, which powered the program for Gemini, announced that it was suspending customer redemption, citing extreme market dislocation and loss of industry confidence caused by the FTX implosion. So what's happening is, for those of you who didn't get it the last 9 days, other people are terrified because someone told them to be terrified. None of this should be happening, by the way. And I know that a good 80% of you are understanding that, but for the other 20%, hear me out. What happened to FTX was relatively normal. And I'm air quoting to heaven and back right here, within the cryptocurrency space. As a large crypto exchange, you're going to have exposure to other things. And this is why we saw a couple of other companies saying, hey, we had exposure to them, but not anymore, or our exposure is $0. This is why we saw Solana falling. It's weird that Solana fell off of that news, not the fact that it fell apart 10 times this year, but the news is that FTX had a huge amount of exposure into Solana. They had a huge amount of the coins and were selling off the coins. That mathematically makes sense. They were selling off to try and recuperate some kind of funds to keep their platform floating up once again. Other platforms, other businesses, the entire cryptocurrency space is falling apart right now because of the scare from other people. Other people are scaring other people now on Twitter and on, what's the other one? Reddit, another terrible place, to announce that this exchange is insolvent. This exchange has no money. I heard from a friend who knows someone working there. Remember 4 days ago, we had news that Coinbase was insolvent. These are tons of rumors that are flying around. And the way that these exchanges work, here's the kicker, is they need money inside of them. What? That's crazy. You need people trading on your platforms to be able to have the money continuously flow. Where do you think the liquidity comes from when you're trading on an exchange, when you sell your coins, when you're buying coins? That's the liquidity. It's the retail investors and normally the market makers. Market makers are usually very heavy-handed whales who may have at any given time 45 million, 300 million, whatever, to throw onto an exchange as the actual liquidity for the exchange. But you need normal people to be on these platforms as well to keep the engine going. That's how it works. Surprise, that's how every single world market works. This is why a lot of times if you see like stocks fall, it's the whales or the market makers who are usually taking out huge portions of money for whatever reason, whatever they're trying to manipulate and or do. These other platforms, I don't know the exact extent of what Genesis Global Trading was doing. People, you have to start, what's the word? You have to stop withdrawals and or lending or what's happening on your platform when liquidity gets too low. If everyone's terrified and everyone's taking their money off of these platforms, they begin to announce we don't have enough money to actually go through. That message comes out on Twitter or somewhere else and people go, oh, they're also insolvent. No. The money that they would have normally had, about 9 to 10 times their normal trading volume, has disappeared because everyone else has gotten so terrified they're taking their money off of every platform. If you take your money off of every platform, the platforms no longer work and they start running out of the money that would have been used to allow people to trade their money. When that ends up stopping or slowing down, they have to halt the thing and contact other moneymakers. Remember when Robinhood fell apart and stopped allowing people to take off their money in 2020 or 2020? I don't remember what the entire thing was. It was because they were running out of money on the platform. It was spread so thin. The way that Robinhood worked is that I believe the reason why they have zero fees is because I think the fees are taken out before. I forgot what it is, but there's a certain pyramid to the actual thing that takes place. But the bottom of the pyramid was looking very shaky and they didn't have enough money to prepay the people who needed to be prepaid. So the whole thing ended up falling apart and they had to stop people from taking out their money because that's the money that was actually, it's an entire sphere. And this is why, one, it's terrible that we are so heavily intertwined into the traditional financial market. The point of Bitcoin is That cryptocurrency exchange has 28,000 Bitcoin. Hey everyone, let's hold hands and take out our 28,000 Bitcoin at the exact same time. Oh, that worked because the exchange only had 28,000 Bitcoin. These other exchanges and it's the Sam Bankman-Frieds and the SBFs, what the normal banking system does is that you're allowed to make fake money from nothing. You're allowed to simply have these other machines happening in the background, and they end up creating these coins that have no literal value, and they use that to actually fund and give liquidity to things that shouldn't have liquidity because the thing that they created doesn't actually exist. This is why I made the video yesterday on money rules, and everyone was like, you know, you're talking about, you're spreading FUD. The term FUD is probably the dumbest thing, and it only makes me hear Elmer Fudd in my head. It doesn't sound like a real thing, and anyone who uses the term FUD, like it doesn't, I'm being nice here. It doesn't sound nice. That's as nice as I could possibly make it. It sounds relatively uneducated when someone says FUD. The entire idea of FUD is you said something that may be true that I don't like, but you're trying to lower the price of my coin or project, therefore it's FUD. Because you don't like to hear something that's actually happening in real life does not make it FUD. If your coin is garbage and I see that it's failed 10 times this year, me telling you that your coin is garbage because it's literal, actual hot garbage. The same exact thing with Bitcoin Cash. If you didn't see yesterday's TMI video, watch the first beginning of it. You'll get exactly what I'm talking about. The coin is garbage. It is Bitcoin Cash is a hot, stinking pile of hot garbage. That's not FUD. I showed you the numbers in the video. Because you don't like something, because I told you years ago on this channel to do due diligence and pay attention to where you put your money because there's so many scams in the space, and now you realize that you got scammed is not FUD. It's you not paying attention. You realizing that you're walking through garbage expecting to find a diamond in the crap. It doesn't make any sense. And this will only continue again. That's one of the greatest parts for me. That's one of the greatest parts for me in this space is that I'm telling you by February, there's going to be another one. There's going to be another exchange, a coin, another DeFi, BlockFi, ABC platform that's going to end up collapsing. And everyone's going to go, I don't get it. Dude, everybody was making so much money. We were going to the moon. So the news is, Gemini had to stop people from taking money off of their platform because Genesis Global said because of all the panic that everyone else was going through, they also had to stop people from taking money off of their platform because I guess liquidity was very, very thin. And then Gemini reverberated saying, hey, guys, we got to do this. And then everyone else is panicking still, and everyone's talking about, is Gemini insolvent? I doubt it. If Gemini, the most regulated thing on the planet, is insolvent, leave crypto right now. Remember a couple of months ago when we got news that the SEC was going after Gemini, and I was like, what? Gemini is the poster child for regulations. The Gemini twins have been on television since 2013. Remember that thing where they were sitting at that really weird long table and people were trying to get the bit license done? They were screaming for regulations. They are the poster child for what regulators want in the space. If Gemini's in trouble, because I'm sure they're sending out weekly audits of their own stuff to regulators to let everybody know that they actually have the money. If they're in trouble, everything is in trouble. But they're actually not in trouble. It was actually Genesis. I don't know if anyone caught that little differentiation. So yeah, Genesis Global stopped people from taking money off of their website. Everyone panicked. It's believed that the current drop in price that we have right now is because the news was floating around on Twitter and people were spreading the rumor that Gemini was also insolvent. They're not. Gemini still has money. Also in the news, Tether confirmed that they have zero exposure to Genesis Global or to Gemini Earn, and that they're doing just fine because this keeps happening over and over. I think I would be slightly panicked over the course of the last, I want to say 7 days, give or take, we've heard multiple, at least from 14 different companies, that they all have, they have to announce this. We have zero exposure to Sam Bankman-Fried or FTX or Alameda. I think if all 14 of those companies had told us that they did have exposure, they were like, hey, we are 95% exposed to this and we're going down as well, I think I'd be a little bit more afraid for the situation. But every single company has basically come out, except for Alameda, basically saying, hey, we don't have exposure. We're not connected to this in any sort of way. But prices continue to fall because I don't think people can read English. I'm not really sure what's going on. The Tether news was also very popular. Tether admits to having zero exposure to Genesis Global. That's great. I didn't think you did in the first place, but thank you for letting us know. Also, it's supposed to be this week, or am I missing something? We're supposed to be having the whole proof of reserves thing where the crypto exchanges are going to tell us exactly how many coins they have and how they're not exposed to FTX, and all this other stuff is going on as well. So good job, Tether, for continuously having to prove yourself, because people don't believe that you actually have as much money as you have, even though you keep telling everyone that you do. Also in interesting news, Jack Dorsey was recently floating around online as well. It says now former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried apparently reached out to Jack Dorsey at the height of the FTX bank run, according to messages shared by Dorsey in a tweet. The former Twitter CEO shared the screenshot in response to a question about how close he was to Sam Bankman-Fried. Basically, this is the tweet right here. Sam Bankman-Fried sent him a text, and it shows that Jack Dorsey didn't respond to his text. It says, hey, Jack, it's Sam Bankman-Fried. Love it. I love that he had to write out his exact name. It's Sam Bankman-Fried, CEO of FTX. Someone is a friend of mine, too, and gave me your number. I'd love to chat today if you're free. Sure, why not? It's unclear whether the former FTX chief, what he wanted to discuss. What do you think? He was having a party that weekend. What do you think this man wanted to talk about? As there's no evidence of a response from Dorsey. Moreover, the Block CEO asserts that he reported the message as junk. Oh, well, he's super cool now. However, it matches up with the timeline at which Reuters reported that the erstwhile crypto billionaire, see, always obsessed, was working the phones. That sounds like something else. Was working the phones to raise $7 billion in capital to save the exchange, which saw a withdrawal volume of $6 billion over the weekend. Yeah, because of the panic. So this was also extremely popular news. We're having a cascade of people who are usually relatively not often in the news who are coming out like, hey, look at who I spoke to. Oh, bro, he also contacted me as well. I assume this man was terrified. He probably realized that he really messed up and was reaching out to people who he knew had money, who could probably lift the exchange back up. So sure. Sam Bankman-Fried contacted Jack Dorsey, and that's crazy, right? This is crazy. I can't believe that this happened. This is such crazy news. Price is going to keep dropping. Whoa, look at his emojis on the bottom. He has one with heart-shaped eyes. I can't believe that. I don't have a smartphone, so I've never been able to do that before. News. This was also super popular. We didn't even get anything in the messages. If we had seen that Jack Dorsey was like, dude, stop contacting me, and then Sam Bankman-Fried went on like a 3-page rant, that would be news. Not that he got contacted by him. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that rich people could contact other people. I mean, that's wild. I've never heard that news before. All right. Let's move on. Also in, sure, why not news? Since last week, the announcement of FTX's collapse, previously one of the most valuable crypto exchanges in the world, I wouldn't go that far. Sam Bankman-Fried, so apparently there's an $11 billion with a B, $11 billion class action lawsuit that's going on. I don't know if it's is it over here as well. Blah, 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 blah. People are trying to because people lost money and now they care, people are launching a class action lawsuit against Sam Bankman-Fried and other people. And I say now that they care because if people were still making money from FT, you could have told people last Sunday exactly what was going wrong with FTX and what Sam Bankman-Fried allegedly did. I have to say allegedly because that's just how the news work. And the price of FTT token in the cryptocurrency market had pumped. Do you think that anyone would have launched a lawsuit against the man who made them money? No, that's never how it works. You always launch a lawsuit, not telling you to do so, but this is how it always works. When the prices go down and you go, Ripple made me lose money, or I lost money from Ethereum, I'm very angry. There's now a class action lawsuit apparently against Larry David Naomi Osaka. I don't know. Is that Larry David, Naomi Osaka? If not, that sounds like a very long name. And Tom Brady as well. And Sam Bankman-Fried for the alleged sale of unregistered securities. I think if we found a way to flush these people out of crypto forever, I think we'd be in such a good space mentally and also like crypto physically. The entire idea that people keep trying to launch or start lawsuits under the pretense of you tried to sell me an unregistered security is absolutely insane. Because I'm certain that even the people who are launching the lawsuit, not the lawyer themselves, have no idea what an unregistered security is and would not care what an unregistered security was if they were still making money from said asset or from said platform, or so what you get the entire idea. So, yeah, there's a gigantic lawsuit that's happening now for $11 billion against Sam Bankman-Fried and apparently a bunch of other celebrities who at some point promoted FTX. There's also a video. Never mind. I won't even talk about that. I won't. I'm going to be a nice guy. So yeah, wow, what? That's crazy. You know, unregistered securities. I'm sure half the people who are filing this have no idea what it is, but they're trying to find a very easy way to make money. That's crazy. Wow. What? Dude, that's insanato. Crazy. Also in the news, Uniswap usage is soaring. As are many other decentralized exchanges, because people are like, oh, I hate centralized exchanges now. They're absolutely crazy. I can't believe I ever have my money on them. Rude awakening here. Decentralized exchanges also get hacked and collapsed all the time. Like we've had, I think 7 this year already. Like, you know, people remember the news stories. Hey, this exchange got hacked for 19 million. But no one paid attention back then because everyone was on the other exchanges. So you don't pay attention to a decentralized exchange when you're not on it. But now that the fact that the centralized exchanges are having problems, everyone's rushing to a decentralized exchange. I give it 3 months. Once people have forgotten about this entire thing, everyone's going to start rushing back to the same exact cryptocurrency exchanges where they were before. So since everyone's so terrified about custody and, you know, Sam Bankman-Fried haunting you in your dreams like Freddy Krueger, don't forget that I have a Ledger affiliate link down below just in case you're so afraid that you need to actually custody yourself. Don't forget that, because, you know, scary times, right? Everyone's so terrified over this one event that, you know, you just gotta keep spreading the fear, because that's what happens when all. So yeah, DeFi exchanges are currently popping up all over the place. Everyone's trying to get to use them. Don't forget your passwords. That's a very big one. A lot of people tend to get quite shocked when they realize that if your money is on a decentralized exchange and you lose your password, there's no customer service, because it's decentralized. Like no one controls it. So there's no customer service. There's no number you can call. If you lose your password, you lose your $15,000 that you had on that exchange. That decentralized exchange, excuse me. That's the Uniswap news. Also, and this is not news. This is not news. I'm going to repeat that one more time. This is not news. Also in very popular news, Brian Armstrong, who's the CEO of Coinbase, sold $1.6 million worth of Coinbase shares. Can someone tell me why this isn't news? So, the news is that a lot of people were looking around and people found out that this guy sold $1.6 million of his Coinbase stock. The speculation is he's selling it because Coinbase is having monetary problems. I'm going to tell you how companies work and how larger companies work. And when you're the CEO of a company, I'm going to give you exactly what happens, how money actually works. If you are a large shareholder of a company, I know you might have seen like TV shows. Did anyone watch Succession? That show was great. Watch Succession. It's absolutely incredible. If you, as the large holder of a company, plan on selling your shares, especially from a public company, you have to file paperwork with the US SEC, usually weeks or months in advance. I'm going to repeat that one more time. As a public company and the head of a company, the shareholders are always looking at what the CEO does. Always. You're public. You are now in the news. Everyone looks at everything that you do for the company and to the company. If you ever want to sell a portion of your shares, you have to essentially, usually sometimes indicate this to the shareholders in some sort of way. It's usually made public, or usually maybe it's simply internal for the largest shareholders. She owns 8% of the company. He owns 12% of the company. You own 4% of the company. Everyone who's at the board meeting, you usually indicate, hey guys, on the 16th of November, I'm going to be selling around 4,000 shares that I have. Okay, cool. And they write that in, and they let everyone else who's also big in the company know that this event is going to be happening, that there is going to be a sell-off by one of the higher ups. You also have to file paperwork to make sure that there's no like fraud going on internally or externally. You have to report all these things to the SEC to let them know that this sale is going to actually end up happening. Remember the news that we had a couple of days ago where Elon Musk was also selling off his Tesla stock? That wasn't random. You can't choose to do that in the morning because you can collapse the entirety of the company. A CEO or a higher up of a company selling off their shares without any notice is a gigantic red flag. You can't do this. You have to, it takes diligence. You have to let other people know. There's a whole chain of command of how this happens. Brian Armstrong did not sell $7 billion worth of Coinbase stock. He did not sell $1 billion worth of Coinbase stock. He did not sell $500 million. He did not sell $200 million. He did not sell $5 million. He sold $1.6 million, which is a drop in a bucket of an even smaller bucket that's inside of that bucket compared to the amount of money that's actually flowing around in this exchange and also their company's valuation. The amount of news stories that I saw talking about he sold $1.6 million. Do you understand how rich these people are? Do you know $1.6 million in rich world barely even buys you a house or an apartment? That he sold $1.6 million and that he's trying to do a rug pull, or he's trying to leave the company. Do you understand how rich these people are? Do you understand the difference between 1 million and $1 billion? I told you guys to watch that video before. It's very fascinating. I posted it sometime before on Twitter. It was a couple of weeks now. Like the difference between how long it takes to make $1 million and $1 billion. There's a gigantic difference. So this isn't news because the higher ups, I'm sure, knew that he was going to be taking his money out. People in the cryptocurrency space who know nothing about finance, who don't know how money actually works and how companies work. There's a video going around online, and I loved watching it. This was years ago. The guy was walking up to people, and he was asking them, he's like, what does LOL mean? What does LMFAO mean? What does TTYL mean? And then he goes, what's CEO? And they were like, see... Those are people who own the company. No. What do the letters CEO mean? What does CTO mean? What does CFO mean? What does COO mean? I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard of a COO. People were trying to cause other people to once again panic, to make it seem as if Coinbase is having money problems. We know they're having money problems. They laid off a whole bunch of people. Everyone's having money problems because the stock market's all over the place. Because inflation is still between 8 to 10%. There are certain countries that have 85% inflation. So that's the Coinbase news. Also in the news as well. It's the letters are N and O. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says the FTX collapse looks an awful lot like Enron. It doesn't. No part of it. And I'm not sure who started that rumor, who made, and the amount of people. I think it's something from the last 3 or so days. A lot of people are talking about that FTX falling apart looks an awful. Enron was a 40-plus-year-old company. Enron was deeply intertwined into nearly everything. FTX was maybe, on a good day, 5 to 7% of the entirety of the crypto. On a good day, 5 to 7% of the cryptocurrency market, of all the exchanges that we actually have out there. Why are so many people trying to equate this thing to something so much bigger? FTX was maybe 2 years old. This crypto exchange that popped out of nowhere, that got people's confidence, and people had money on it, that went bankrupt or filed for bankruptcy and went insolvent over the course of a week, you're comparing that to one of the largest financial crimes that we've ever seen on the planet. I saw people even saying that this was our 2008 moment. This was our stock market crash. This was our Lehman Brothers. This was the moment where it's not even remotely close. Do you know how close we came to literal financial destruction in 2008 and 2009? If you ever get a chance, like watch a documentary, like, you know, it takes a year or two for all the news to really come out. In 2010, 2011, these people were talking about what actually happened in 2008 and 2009. We weren't on the cusp. We were one leg over the cusp of an actual financial meltdown for the planet. Everything was actually going to zero because they realized how intertwined everything actually was and still currently is. That's why we had the situation where the Fed was like, we have to print money. This is the only way to make it right, because it was. They allowed this toxicity to continue to grow through the market because everyone didn't care. Tons of banks knew about this. The movie The Big Short, they weren't the only people to short it. Tons of people knew that this was going on for years, but tons of people were making money, so therefore it wasn't a problem to them. Because people don't care until they're losing money. People knew exactly what was going on. People knew that something was wrong, but as long as I can keep on making $3 million a day, why would I care? This is not Enron. This is not 2008. This is not the Lehman Brothers. You know what would be? You know what would be an Enron-like situation or a literal Lehman Brothers? If Coinbase stopped allowing people to take their money off, like right now, and Coinbase disappeared. You know what would be an Enron? Is if Changpeng Zhao deleted his Twitter and then Binance disappeared. That would be a literal collapse in confidence of the market. FTX was relatively unknown in the actual real world. People in crypto knew FTX. We heard about it all the time. I got tired. I told you. I got tired of reading the words billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried. It was constant. Everyone was so obsessed with the fact that this man became a billionaire, I think, in 2 years. But this is also the things that, you know, that people love. People love this rags to riches story. This man had money before. I told you that. In an interview, he was talking about how they were making $1 million per day doing arbitrage. It's because they already had tens of millions of dollars to be able to do the actual arbitrage. This is not even remotely close to Enron, but what it is an active form of market manipulation. It's people telling other people how bad this is, how awful this is. Dude, you got to sell your coins. There's more drops coming. Pay attention to the people on Twitter and on YouTube who keep telling you that they're anticipating more drops. From what? Why? Why does Bitcoin have to go to 10,000 before we can move back up? We were just almost at 22,000. What happened to the optimism from a couple of days ago? We know that people were still able to, you don't understand. People were still able to take their money off of FTX for days. Imagine if you couldn't do that on Coinbase and Binance right now for never. There was no other point where you could ever, like, that money was simply gone. They were lying about all their numbers. That's an Enron. That's a Lehman Brothers. People were able to take their money off of it. This guy still has tons of connections. He's still worth hundreds of millions of dollars. At some point, I give it a year. He's going to find a way to raise the money, give everyone their money back for the small portion of people who weren't able to take their money off of it. I didn't even see people complaining online that they couldn't take their money off. I see no one. You know how many times during the course of any other DeFi hack, crypto exchange hack, I lost money in this, so and so. I see people in the comment section here. Not to say that there isn't someone here or even a handful of people. But on Twitter, you see hundreds of people talking about it. I see no one. All I see are large Twitter accounts telling other people, this man's a criminal. He needs to be locked up. This is the worst thing that's ever happened. Pay attention to the people who are trying to make you scared, who are trying to get you to sell your money off. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that as well. Apparently, the SEC is now investigating Changpeng Zhao for his tweets. Yeah, I told you all that before. This all started because he tweeted this out. I'm telling you, do you know how many things happen in the financial world and in the cryptocurrency world that we hear about years later that were potentially catastrophic, but were worked through because people in the background actually paid attention and got all their money together? Everyone was told to panic 2 Sundays ago. He said, we don't want another Terra Luna collapse. FTX is so and so and so. We will no longer be supporting people who don't support the cryptocurrency industry, and everything fell from there. Every other tweet after that, I showed you the tweet thread in one of the other videos. You were told to panic. That's why he's allegedly being, from the news I saw, allegedly being investigated by the SEC for market manipulation. Because when all that news came out, an FTT token collapsed. Do you know what Binance coin did? Yeah, it pumped for days in price. Something very weird is going on. I can't be the only one who feels it. It's so abundantly obvious. We've had this so many times over the course of this year and last year where the news comes out and it's like, that's not what's happening. But everyone keeps mimicking the exact same thing over and over. Scary, scary, real scary. We got to sell. This is terrible. This is crazy. This isn't even 1% of Enron. If behind the scenes, Changpeng Zhao and many other people had told him, dude, we looked through your order books. They look terrible. It'll take about a good 35 days, but you need to keep your transaction volume up. Use a portion of that money to pay off all your debts and never, ever do that again. None of us would have heard about this. Can you guess how many other companies behind the scenes were also doing something very similar to FTX? And they've cleaned up their order books. They're making sure that they're getting all the money together. Do you think FTX was the only one? Do you honestly think that in this space where we see this happening all the time, that FTX was the only cryptocurrency exchange? Only people in the space who had made fake money, were lightly insolvent, and did all this other stuff? I'm hoping that by, I want to say Thanksgiving, we have some other kind of news in the space. Maybe Cardano has another upgrade that's coming in 3 years, or maybe Bitcoin has a new this happening, or maybe Vitalik Buterin bought a boat somewhere and he has another really awkward photo standing next to a girl. If you didn't see that photo, don't look for it. It'll terrify you for days. Yeah. When will we get past this? This was the only news. Remember I told you at the beginning, I was like, this is all the news that there is. This is all anyone's talking about. This is all that there actually is to talk about in the cryptocurrency space. Not about building, and even the entire thing that people keep saying, like, we have to rebuild. Rebuild what? It's FTX that collapsed. Kraken didn't collapse. Binance didn't collapse. Coinbase didn't collapse. Gemini didn't collapse. Bitcoin didn't collapse. Not money-wise, but I mean, like, Bitcoin's still up and running. We still see how much ether is being burned. What? XRP is still being used by banks and institutions around the world. That's crazy. What's wrong with everyone? Why is everyone so obsessed with this one thing? I really don't get it. And I assume it has to do, most of the news that ends up popping up out there, a large portion is like written by Americans. And I assume it's the fact that people found out that he doesn't roll down the same block as them and everyone's upset. Who cares? Do stuff with your own money? Focus on you making your own money. Make sure that the cryptocurrency market comes back. Tell your friends, hey, dude, I don't like this guy. Don't do anything that he did, but these coins are still amazing. These projects are still building. How did everyone forget so quick that Polygon is being used by JP Morgan Chase, Instagram, and Disney? It took a day for everyone to forget. We've had nothing but good news. 10 days ago, and then 3 years before that, all we had was good news. Not counting the price has gone down as bad news. It just simply, the stock market was all over the place. But guess what? Optimism is also back in the stock market. Can you imagine if we can get back to where we were mentally 10 days ago? Because everyone's pretty hyped for stocks now. The indication that we had directly from the Fed that by March, they may stop raising interest rates completely or may only do them by 0.25%. Remember 10 days ago when the stock market was rallying and Bitcoin almost hit $22,000 and we were talking about Bitcoin was going to $25,000? What changed? Crypto Enron that didn't happen? The insolvency that's probably going to solve itself? We heard Justin Sun and like 3 other people were talking about that they may bail him out. What's scary after that? Like what are we supposed to be terrified of or afraid of after that news happens? Can you imagine if by next Tuesday we get news that someone has lent FTX $7 billion? The 15% of people who couldn't take their money out of the exchange, they took their money out of the exchange. All their debt will be repaid over the course of a 15, 20-year period to all their debtors. What's the scary news then? Tell me. What then should we be panicking about? Is it the fact that regulators are now looking at the market? They were always looking at the market. This is why I'm telling you, I feel like this is all lightly coordinated because now regulators care. Should we be afraid of that? No, we've known that regulators have been looking at our market for the last 7 years. What else is scary then? Tell me. Because in a couple of weeks, everyone will have forgotten about this. And then we'll be in another situation where the market's going up and then something's going to happen and everyone goes, panic! Everyone sell your coins. Why? Why does everyone have to keep selling their coins? Why are crypto YouTubers constantly telling you to be... The thumbnails some of these people are making, I mean, absolutely incredible. Holding their faces, fake tears, these words with like fake tweets from who was that guy who was doing it? He had fake tweets from Sam Bankman-Fried saying like, I stole your money, LOL. So this is nothing like Enron. If you have a chance today at some point, maybe your weekends are free. Find a documentary on Enron and save that to your watch later. And I mean absorb it. Watch a documentary about the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009 and how close we were to literal financial Armageddon. Maybe like a 2-hour documentary and absorb it. And then read the news about what's happening with FTX and how this guy is still tweeting. He hasn't disappeared. People were able to take their money out of the cryptocurrency exchange, and now he's not looking for 125 billion to save the company. He's looking for like $6 to $7 billion, which he's going to get. And then compare the events. Anyway, that's the Enron news. Oh my gosh, they're so similar. Wow, I can't believe it, dude. Everyone keep being scared because that's what other crypto YouTubers are telling you to do. It's not like we had good news for years and everyone seemingly forgot. I'm waiting for that $10,000 Bitcoin because that seems to be the only logical place we can go. Only way the market can go is down. Got to be afraid, right? As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Martin Steuer, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, and let's move on, Empire Queen, Roman, Gaba, Bitcoin, Ben Arachno, Dave, The Dealer's Den, Captain Something in the Z-Way, Lay, Mo Barazi, VB Nerd 21, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Pat Ternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cold E3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Macho Nisa, and On Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to all the new Patreon supporters. Hello out there. Thank you very, very much. Thank you to everyone who left a like, a comment, has subscribed, wrote 1337 or the letters SBF. I don't know what to tell you to write in the comment section, but just do something. It helps out with the algorithm. At the moment, Bitcoin is down by 1%. It is at 16,530. The price looks incredibly choppy because that's just where we are right now. Ethereum's down by 3. Binance Coin is down by 2. Doge is down by 3. Anything up? Solana's up. Geez, by 0.42%. That doesn't make any sense in logic. Litecoin's up by 2.5%. Leo said Uno's lead. Leo said Uno is up by 3.8%. Monero's up by 1.9% as well. Anything like weird? X-Chain keeps going up. X-Chain is up by 10% with $25 million in trading volume. So someone's manipulating that price. Luna Classic is down by 5. Tezos is down by 4. Trust Wallet Token is up by 11%. Sure, why not? Put your money where you want. And Hedera Hashbar Graphbar is up by 2.4% as well. What a weird world. Things will get better. Understand that. I do believe still that we need to call a spade when we see it. We don't need dramatic Twitter revelations and telling everyone to panic. I assume, hopefully, that the cryptocurrency space will be a bit more cleaned up after this. I assume other companies were doing the exact same thing as FTX, and now they're like, oh crap, we got to stop doing that before someone else figures out we were doing the exact same thing. So we should, as always, be a lot higher in price. There's no reason for the prices, and I'll even slim it down, of Bitcoin and Ethereum to be dropping. And I also added Ethereum in there because, you know, we would have had 700,000 coins made under proof of work. And now we only have 4,000 that were made. Mathematically, we should be 10x at least where we currently are in price. The usage of the blockchain during the bear market hasn't slowed down by that much. It still has an amazing amount of usage. NFTs are also making a comeback. Don't know if people saw that as well. And whenever Ethereum rises, the altcoins do the exact same thing. Bitcoin's still working. Bitcoin hasn't slowed down. Bitcoin is the slowest slug that there ever was. Still no 51% attacks. Still more nodes being turned on all the time. People validating all the transactions. Still trillions of dollars being processed through that one blockchain. That one blockchain is processing trillions of dollars every single month. And the price is falling. So we will hopefully recover soonish. Who knows? But I think once we get better news in the actual news and people on Twitter are not as... Because a lot of people on Twitter have been getting a lot of new followers based on the fear. A lot of people are trying to figure out what's happening with the FTX situation. And, you know, they're clicking anywhere to try and get as much news as possible. And I think the people on Twitter are so obsessed with the 5,000 new people following them because they're tweeting every minute of how terrible and how sad all of this is, that I think they're kind of, you know, just obsessed with the news. So once we get some big news, dear Elon Musk, can you please tweet that Dogecoin might be added to Twitter? We need, oh gosh, what else do we need? Second rich person out there, can you please announce that you heard a rumor that this country is going to be adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, and we need a third news story? Something along this, something, I don't think XRP is enough. I think we need some rich person to say that Ethereum, oh gosh, what is it? Maybe like a really big company is going to be using Ethereum. That would also be kind of great. I think if we had that, we could form Captain Planet and we could be out of this mess in no time. It just takes really gooder news, and then we'll all be good once again. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, commenting, liking, subscribing, supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.